أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما نافعا Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the reflections on the Risale-i Nur by Bediuzzaman Said Nursi podcast series. You can listen to the episodes of this series wherever you listen to your podcasts or at the website www.reflections-rn.org. In this episode, inshallah, we will continue reading the 10th word. The 10th word is about the existence of the hereafter. Proofs, rational proofs of the existence of the hereafter. In dialectical theology, in kalam, this is usually or overwhelmingly considered an aspect of belief that is not to be proved through rational proofs, but rather taken based on sam'iyat, what is heard matters. The verity of the existence and oneness of God and the verity of prophethood are proven through rational proofs, and the rest is left to what is heard from them. Ustad Nursi, on the other hand, develops rational proofs for the existence and reality of the hereafter, bodily resurrection too. We read through 5 of the proofs, or 5 ways in which this is proven so far, and inshallah today we will continue reading the 6th way. These are preceded by an introduction, and in the introduction Ustad Nursi tells us the story of 2 friends, 2 brothers who find themselves in a paradise-like place, which obviously corresponds to the earth that we live in. So we start from the observed reality that we are surrounded with. One of these friends looks around and sees a perfect order and orderliness, perfect justice, perfect beauty, lots of things, and he decides that this cannot be without an owner, without a creator, and this owner and creator is just and loves orderliness, and therefore he should also follow the order that is built into this paradise-like place. However, they also witness that there are some abusers. Everybody living in this paradise-like place leave their doors open. They don't pay too much attention to what is being taken away from them, and they all live peacefully. Everybody does what is incumbent upon them to do, and therefore order is preserved. But there are these few abusers who walk into houses, steal things and grab things. The friend who is intelligent, who has an uncorrupted heart, says, this cannot be all of it. The owner of these places obviously is powerful, is just, has order. In that case, whatever is not taken care of in this place must be being taken care of somewhere else, because we see everybody is moving on. Nobody stays here permanently. So these people who are stealing, who are abusing, must be punished somewhere else, and these people who are obeying must be rewarded somewhere else. But the other friend says, no, I don't believe that, I don't see it. All of this must be common property. Everybody takes whatever they want. I don't believe that there is an owner, or that the owner is going to establish justice somewhere else. And then the other friend says, look, this is obvious to me. Let me tell you how and why. Let me give you the ways in which you should tell your compulsive soul, which is the cause of this, that there is a hereafter where justice will be established. And we have been reading through those proofs, through those ways in which this intelligent, smart, good-hearted friend proves the existence of a hereafter. Inshallah, today we are reading the 6th way. 6. suret, the 6th proof, the 6th way in which the verity of the hereafter is proven. İşte gel bak. Bu muhteşem şimendiferler tayyareler, tecihizatlar, depolar, sergiler, icraatlar gösteriyorlar ki perde arkasında pek muhteşem bir saltanat var. So come and look. These imposing, splendid trains, railways, planes, equipment, warehouses, displays, and acts, execution of decisions show that there is a splendid, imposing, splendid royal power behind the screen. This cannot all be by itself. You see that there are all these complex machines that are all functioning in perfect order, and they don't know one another. They are not conscious. Many of them are not conscious. However, they are functioning in a way that each help one another, each support one another, each run to the assistance of one another, each correspond to one another. This cannot be by itself. There must be a center from which this is being organized, and the splendid nature of everything that we are observing here, the greatness, the massiveness, the magnitude of what we are observing shows us that whoever is in charge at that center must have a splendid royal power. And right at the beginning of this sixth proof, Ustad Nursi gives us a somewhat lengthy side note, which will point to the reality of these trains, equipments, planes, and so on and so forth that we observe out there in the universe. And as a side note, we are still doing the logical proofs that this friend is showing to his friend in this story. This will be followed by an exposition of the reality of all of this in the cosmos, in the realm that we live in. That is why the 10th word is quite lengthy. So let's read the side note now. Haşiye. Side note. Mesela, for example, nasıl şu zamanda manevra meydanında harp usulünde silah al, süngü tak emriyle koca bir ordu baştan başa dikenli bir meşegaha benzediği gibi her bir bayram gününde resmi geçit için formalarınızı takıp nişanlarınızı asınız emrine karşı ordugah seraser rengarenk çiçek açmış müzeyyen bir bahçeyi temsil ettiği misüllü, öyle de ruh-i zemin meydanında Sultan-ı Ezeli'nin nihayetsiz enva-ı cunudundan melek ve cin ve ins ve hayvanlar gibi şuursuz nebatat taifesi dahi hıfz-ı hayat cihadında emri kun feyekun ile müdafaa için silahlarınızı ve cihazatınızı takınız emri ilahiyi aldıkları vakit zemin baştan aşağıya bütün ondaki dikenli ağaçlar ve nebatlar süngücüklerini taktıkları zaman aynen süngülerini takmış muhteşem bir ordugaha benziyor. When a vast army in the present age, the age that we live in, receives the order, take up your weapons and fix your bayonets. So imagine this is obviously shortly after First World War, and everybody at that time, or most people at that time, witnessed this. When an army lined up, the commander gives the order, fix up your bayonets. All the soldiers all at once, in perfect harmony, will put their bayonets on, fix their bayonets on, and take up their weapons. So this is an imagery that is familiar for Ustad Nursi's audience. For many of us it may not be, but we live in the digital age. Everybody must have seen something like this, at least on TV. When a vast army in the present age receives the order, take up your weapons and fix your bayonets, in accordance with the rules of war, while on a maneuver, it comes to resemble a forest of upright oaks. So according to rules of war, i.e. according to military rule, all these soldiers obey the command and act in unison to take their weapons and fix their bayonets, and when they all do this, within a few seconds, it looks like a forest of upright oaks. Oaks because oak trees will have these thorns. Similarly, when the soldiers of a garrison are commanded on festive days to don their parade uniforms and pin on their medals, it will resemble from one end to the other a colorful and ornate garden, where all the flowers have blossomed. Conversely, when on the parade ground of the world, now we are comparing this imagery from the military to the reality that we are observing out there on the face of the earth. When on the parade ground of the world, so the face of the earth is like a parade ground, the various and infinite species of the soldiery of the pre-eternal monarch, God. And who are they? Angels, jinn, men, animals, and as well as even the plants without consciousness. When they receive the order be, and it is, kun fayakun, and obviously this is from the Qur'an, be and it is. When God wills to create something, bring something into existence, his way is to say be and it is. Be and it is. When they receive the order be and it is, in the struggle for life's preservation and the command, take up your weapons and equipment and prepare to defend yourselves. When they fix the minute bayonets that are the spiked trees and plants found throughout the world, then they resemble a magnificent army advancing with bayonets fixed. So imagine this, at springtime, there comes the order, take up your weapons, fix your bayonets, and all the plants, all the trees, take up their weapons, fix their bayonets. They blossom like a parade ground. Their thorns will come out, their branches will start to, the shoots will start to grow. When you imagine this, you can appreciate the singleness of that command and the obedience of the entire creation, entire living beings on the face of the world, on the face of the earth, in response to this command. Kun fayakun, be and it is. They all at once, in a few days, blossomed, and their shoots are starting to grow. And it's beautiful, and at the same time it is awe-inspiring, in the sense that they're all under command and they're all looking to one point, to receive their command, to receive their order. Hem baharın her bir günü, her bir haftası birer taife-i nebatatın birer bayramı hükmünde olduğu için her bir taifesi dahi kendi sultanının o taifeye ihsan ettiği güzel hediyeleri teşhir için ona taktığı murassa nişanları birer resmi geçit tarzında o sultan-ı ezeliğinin nazara şuhud ve işhadına arz ettiğinden ve öyle bir vaziyet gösterdiğinden bütün nebatat ve eşcar güya sanat-ı Rabbaniye murassaatını ve çiçek ve meyve denilen fıtrat ilahiyenin nişanlarını takınız, çiçekler açınız, emri Rabbaniye'yi dinliyorlar ki ruh-ü zemin dahi gayet muhteşem bir bayram gününde şahane resmi geçitte sürmeli formaları ve murassa nişanları parlayan bir ordugahı temsil ediyor. Similarly, so in the first sentence we talk more about the take up your weapons and fix your bayonets part. Now we are going to talk about donning their special outfits for the parade. Similarly, each day and each week of the spring is like a festival for each class of the vegetable kingdom. And each class presents itself to the witnessing gaze of the pre-eternal monarch with the jeweled decorations he has given them, as if it were on parade in order to display the fine gifts he has bestowed on them. Again, if you imagine the skirts of a mountain, for instance, at springtime, one day you will wake up and see that it's all purple. There's a particular flower growing on that plain, and you will see that it's all purple. They have blossomed on that day. And then 2 days later, it's going to start to wilt. The purple will start to dim, and then you wake up the next day, you see all white. There's a white flower now. It is covering almond trees, for instance, or cherry trees, the cherry blossoms. A few days later, it will be all yellow. A few days later, this. A few days later, that. So it is as if they each have their special days, special festivities on which they are receiving the command, don your special outfits, and they are donning them and showing them to their beloved monarch, pre-eternal monarch. It is as if all the plants and trees were heeding a dominical command, a lordly command, Rabbani, a command that is coming from the one who is nurturing them, who is caring for them, and who is their master, who is their Rabb, in short. They are all heeding, following a lordly command, and they don the bejeweled garments, the garments ornamented with jewels, produced by God's artistry, produced by the art, the artful creation that this nurturing master has. They put on the decorations made by his creative power, which are flowers and fruits. The face of the earth then comes to represent a parade ground on a splendid festive day, a magnificent parade brilliant with the uniforms and jeweled decorations of the soldiers. İşte şu derece hikmetli ve intizamlı tecihizat ve tezyinat, elbette nihayetsiz kadir bir sultanın, nihayet derecede hakim bir hakimin emriyle olduğunu kör olmayanlara gösterir. And of course, such a wise and well-ordered arrangement and ornament or ornamentation demonstrates of a certainty to all who are not blind that they derive, so this well-ordered arrangement and ornament are coming from the command of a monarch with infinite power and unlimited wisdom. He is a sultan with unlimited, infinite power and a ruler with infinite wisdom. So this command is coming from a sultan with infinite power and a ruler with infinite wisdom. This is the end of the side note. Let's go back to the beginning and then read what we read there so that we continue from there. Come now, look, all these imposing, splendid railways, planes, machines, warehouses, exhibitions, displays show that behind the screen an imposing, a splendid monarch exists and governs. Böyle bir saltanat kendisine layık bir raiyet ister. A royal power like this requires subjects or calls for subjects that are worthy of himself. Halbuki görüyorsun, bütün raiyet bu misafirhanede toplanmışlar. Together with this, you see that all the subjects that you are aware of have gathered in this place, in this guest house. Misafirhane ise her gün dolar boşanır. And the guest house fills and empties on a daily basis. So people come and people go. Hem bütün raiyet manevra için bu meydanın imtihanında bulunuyorlar. Besides, the entire subjects of this royal power are present on this testing ground. They're all on this testing ground for the maneuver. So it's not any day. It's maneuver time. And because it's maneuver time, they are all called to the testing ground, and they are all at the testing ground. Meydan ise her saat tebdil ediliyor. And this testing ground changes, transforms every hour. It is not stable. Hem bütün raiyet padişahın kıymetdar ihsanatının numunelerini ve harika sanatlarının antikalarını sergilerde temaşa etmek için şu teşrigahta bir dakika durup seyrediyorlar. Moreover, all the subjects come to this exhibition hall, to this display ground, and they stay there for a minute, to behold the specimens of the monarch's, the royal power's beneficence and his valuable products, the valuable products of his miraculous arts. So those who are not in the maneuver for some reason, maybe they're invalid, maybe they are small, too young, etc., they're also here because then they want to watch it. So everybody has come. Meşher ise her dakika tahavvül ediyor. Whereas this place of display is also changing, transforming, moving from one condition into another every minute. Giden gelmez, gelen gider. The ones who leave don't come back, and the ones who come all leave. İşte bu hal, şu vaziyet kati gösteriyor ki, şu misafirhane ve şu meydan ve şu meşherlerin arkasında daimi saraylar, müstemir meskenler, şu numelerin ve suretlerin halis ve yüksek asıllarıyla dolu bağ ve hazineler vardır. So this state that we observe, the conditions that we observe here shows with certainty that behind behind this guest house, behind this testing ground, behind this ground, behind this display, there is a permanent, or there are permanent palaces, persistent abodes, and gardens, orchards, and treasuries, filled with pure and elevated realities of these samples and images that are being demonstrated. They are somewhere behind the guest house, behind this testing ground, behind this display that we observe here, behind a screen, and they must be there filling gardens and treasuries. Why? The royal power that we observe behind all these happenings is splendid, magnificent, imposing. It has unlimited wisdom. It has unlimited power. Whereas the beholders, the spectators, or the soldiers who are displaying their arms and decorations, or the people who came to watch what's going on, they are all here for a brief moment. There's nothing that is permanent here. The guest house is filling and emptying. The maneuver ground is filling and emptying. Everybody, all the soldiers display their weapons and decorations for a few minutes, an hour, and leave. We don't observe anything that is permanent and that feels real here. Nothing stays. Everything is temporal, effervescent, flimsy. But the royal power that we are observing, that's not flimsy, it's splendid, it's magnificent. And it wants subjects. And it wants subjects that are going to be able to display their weapons, display their decorations, display their equipment on a permanent basis. It wants subjects that are going to behold his artwork on a permanent basis. And it is also going to want to reward those who are coming to this testing ground, to this maneuver ground, and obediently observing what's going on, obediently following command and displaying their weapons and decorations, obediently and appreciatively. That's important. Appreciatively beholding, watching what is being displayed, and then they are being moved on. So this royal power, the nature of this royal power would also entail that those who are here appreciating his artwork, those who are here following his command, will be taken to a place where they can do this permanently, because they come and they appreciate. They're in awe. They're in a state of awe. And this is something that needs to be rewarded. The intellect thinks, the intellect entails that this is something to be rewarded. Otherwise, God is not obliged to reward anybody. That is not what we are talking about. We are talking about rational proofs here. What does the intellect tell us? The rules of the intellect tell us that people who are here for these brief moments, and who are so obedient, and who are so appreciative, who are in such infatuation and awe of the power and beauty that is being displayed, should be given a permanent abode where they can continue to do this. But that's not what we see. What we see is that the display is being set up for a moment and being destroyed, and then another display is being set up. What we are seeing is that these soldiers who are here for the maneuver ground are being brought doing their maneuvers and then disappearing. So all this army, all the splendid decoration and uniforms and weaponry and so on and so forth, is that only for a display of 1 hour? That does not make sense. No royal power brings together an army for 1 hour and demobilizes them altogether, disperses them. No. Armies are there to be kept. It's an institution. So what we see here is the institutionalization of a royal power, or the incidents, images, brief moments of evidence for the institutionalization of royal power, but we don't see the institution itself. There is an army, it is being displayed, and this cannot be for 1 hour. There are all these subjects of the royal power that are so appreciative, that are so in love with what they are seeing, that are so infatuated, that are demanding and desiring of permanence, but they are here for a moment, for a few minutes. In that case, Üstad Nursi says, demek burada çabalamak onlar içindir. Şurada çalıştırır, orada ücret verir. Herkesin istidadına göre orada bir saadeti var. In that case, struggling here is for that. For what? For the continual permanent palaces, persistent abodes, and the pure and elevated realities of the samples that are being shown here that fill orchards and treasuries over there. Struggling here is to get there and to benefit from them. Şurada çalıştırır. He makes you work here, he makes you struggle here. Orada ücret verir, and he gives you a reward over there. Herkesin istidadına göre orada bir saadeti var. Everybody has a bliss, a form of happiness in accordance with their preparedness. Over there, everybody has a form of bliss in accordance with their preparedness. They prepare here, they develop the skills to appreciate what is going to be demonstrated over there, and once they are taken there, they are given the equivalent of or corresponding bliss to what they have prepared. Everybody, according to their preparedness, according to their predisposition, according to their potentials, have a bliss, have a joy, happiness over there. 7. Suret, the 7th proof, the 7th way in which we prove the verity of bodily resurrection and the hereafter. Gel bir parça gezelim. Come, let us walk a little. Let us walk and see what is here. Şu medeni ahali içinde ne var ne yok görelim. Let's see what is to be found among these civilized people. İşte bak, her yerde, her köşede müteaddit fotoğraflar kurulmuş, suret alıyorlar. See, in every place, at every corner, there are photographers sitting and taking pictures. Or there are cameras at every corner that are taking pictures. Bak, her yerde müteaddit katipler oturmuşlar, bir şeyler yazıyorlar. Look, everywhere we see numerous scribes who are sitting and writing something. Her şeyi kaydediyorlar. They record, they register everything. En ehemmiyetsiz bir hizmeti, en adi bir vukuatı zapt ediyorlar. They keep even the most insignificant service, the lowliest, the most normal happening. They are keeping a record of them all. Şu yüksek dağda padişaha mahsus bir büyük fotoğraf kurulmuş ki, and look, on this high mountain there is a big camera that is special to the Sultan. And here there's again a side note. Haşiye. Şu suretin işaret ettiği manaların bir kısmı 7. hakikatte beyan edilmiş. Some of the realities or meanings indicated in this proof have been detailed, exposed in the 7th truth. Now, I just mentioned that after we go through these proofs, these imagery, the continuation of the representation, the story that we told at the beginning, there will come the realities of what the meanings that we heard in that story are pointing to in the reality, the higher reality. And in the 7th truth, Ustad Nursi says that what is being talked about here, these cameras, scribes, and so forth, the reality of that is going to be explained. Yalnız burada padişaha mahsus bir büyük fotoğraf işareti ve hakikati levh-i mahfuz demektir. Let us point out here that the figure of the supreme photographer devoted to the service of the king, or this great camera that is exclusively belonging to the king, to the monarch, the sultan, is an indication of the preserved tablet, levh-i mahfuz. Lawh Mahfuz, or the preserved tablet, is a Quranic term mentioned in Surah Al-Buruj, the last verse of Surah Al-Buruj, and it's the last two verses go, "This is truly a glorious Quran written on a preserved tablet, بل هو قرآن مجيد في لوح محفوظ." Scholars, based on prophetic guidance, have explained this as a tablet, the reality of which we do not know. So we say tablet because that is what approximates the meaning in our minds, what makes it understandable to us. So we do not necessarily think of a tablet made of clay or wood or something like that, but some kind of an instrument of writing, some kind of an instrument on which one can write. A tablet where everything that has happened and will happen and is happening is written. Lawh Mahfuz. And what is written on Lawh Mahfuz happens. And there is also Lawh Mahfuz wal Isbat. So Lawh Mahfuz is mahfuz. It is preserved. We don't have access to it. Unless God gives access, even angels don't have access to it. But then there is also Lawh Mahfuz Isbat. There is another similitude, maybe reflection, manifestation of this Lawh Mahfuz, this tablet, preserved tablet, where things are written, but there things are subject to change in accordance with God's will and what happens. So, for instance, we say dua, supplication, can change what is written. So when we say supplication can change what is written, i.e. something was written in my destiny, I'm going to have an accident. That's written in my destiny, and maybe angels may see this. Those with elevated spirits who have access to the realm where these things are happening may see it, and they may see that this person is going to have an accident on such and such date, and he will die, or he will be wounded, or whatever. But then I give charity. Sadaqa belai def eder. Charity repels troubles, tribulations. Or I made dua and I said, "Oh God, preserve me, protect me." And God accepted my dua, and He ordered His angels to change what is written on that Lawh Mahfuz Isbat, on that tablet of erasure and affirmation. So Lawh Mahfuz Isbat, we can translate that as the tablet of erasure and affirmation. So here Ustad Nursi is referring to Lawh Mahfuz, which is a Quranic term from Surah Al-Buruj in the Quran, the last verse of Surah Al-Buruj, the preserved tablet. Levh-i Mahfuz'un tahakkuku vücudu 26. sözde şöyle ispat edilmiş ki, the verity of the existence of the Lawh Mahfuz, the preserved tablet, is proven in the 26th word as follows. 26th word is obviously a treatise in the book, the words, and it is about qadar, divine measuring out, or destiny, predestination. It can be translated in all of these ways. It's about qadar, and there Ustad Nursi proves that Lawh Mahfuz, the preserved tablet, exists. The verity of its existence is proven in the 26th word as follows. Nasıl küçük küçük cüzdanlar büyük bir küçüğün vücudunu ihsas eder ve küçük küçük senedler bir defteri kebirin bulunduğunu işaret eder ve küçük kesretli tereşühatlar büyük bir su menbaını işmam eder. Again, we are doing this with a representation. Imagine. A little portfolio suggests the existence of a great ledger. Here the reference is to the ID cards or the ID notebooks that they used to have in the past in Republican Turkey, in Ottoman Empire, and many other parts of the world. Everybody is given a little notebook on which there is information about this person's identity, and it says the name of this person is this, he is male or she is female, born at this time, father's name, mother's name, born at such and such a place at such and such a time, maybe a photograph, before photograph, maybe a description of the person and everything else that might be needed in order to identify this person written on that little notebook or little ID card, and also a number. So you look and see that there is a number on this cüzdan, on this ID card, and you understand that this number must be registered somewhere, because otherwise it would be meaningless. And you look at another ID card and you see that there's a different number. You look at another ID card, you see that there's a different number. So this number must have a purpose. It is to identify this person in a greater ledger. So if you see these little ID cards, you understand that there is a greater ledger where all of these are registered, and these are to be verified over there. A little document points to the existence of a great register. If you see a little document, or if you see a little or a particular note, let's say a deed, that says this place, this location on the face of the earth, and it's going to give you the description of the location, belongs to such and such a person, and then there is going to be a number on it. You again understand that there is a greater book of registers somewhere. This is registered, and this deed in and of itself does not mean much unless there is something corresponding to it over there in the register. You can pull out the deed and say, this is my proof that this land belongs to me. But if the information on that deed does not correspond to what is in the greater register, it will become meaningless. So the existence of this little deed, this little document, proves or points to the existence of a greater register. And then küçük kesretli tereşşuhatlar büyük bir su menbaını işmam eder. You go to a mountain, you are walking through the mountain, and you see that water is oozing out of the rocks. But there is some oozing out here, there is some oozing out there, there is some oozing out there. You understand that all of these small instances of water oozing out points out that behind the rocks there is a larger mass of water, and that is the source. Otherwise, this is not coming out of the rock at the point that we observe it. It is coming from somewhere. The water is finding its way through the rocks, and wherever it finds an opening, it is coming out. It's oozing out. But since there are lots of them everywhere, you understand that there is a massive reservoir of water somewhere. And again, these little instances of water oozing out, you see, points to that greater reservoir. So what this does is that you see small signs, and all of those small signs point to something great, where they are all registered, where they are all coming from, where is the source, the origin. If you understood the imagery, now we can move on to the reality of this. Aynen öyle de küçük küçük cüzdanlar hükmünde hem birer küçük levh-i mahfuz manasında hem büyük levh-i mahfuzu yazan kalemden tereşşuh eden küçük küçük noktalar suretinde olan beni beşerin kuvve-i hafızaları, ağaçların meyveleri, meyvelerin çekirdekleri, tohumları, elbette bir hafıza-i kübrayı, bir defteri ekberi, bir levh-i mahfuz-u azamı ihsas eder, işar eder ve ispat eder, belki keskin akıllara gösterir. So to the retentive faculties of man, this is how it is translated by Hamid Algar. As a side note here, what we do here is that we usually read the Turkish and then consult Shukran Wahide's translation, but usually do not follow it mot-a-mot, word by word, but rather do some simultaneous translation. And we are doing the same thing here, but the 10th word was originally translated by Hamid Algar, who was a professor of history, retired now, and Shukran Wahide adopted it into her translation of the book, The Words. So we are now consulting Hamid Algar's translation. May this be a means for dua for him too. So to the retentive faculties of men, i.e. the memories of people, human memory, the fruits of trees, and the seeds and kernels in the fruits, being each like a little portfolio. So we talked at the beginning about these ID cards, right? If you think of a seed for a fruit tree, it is like the ID card of the tree. It has all the descriptions that we need in order to depict that tree. Or the human memory. Human memory. It is preserved there. What we see, what we hear, what we experience, it is all preserved there. And then we can recreate it. We can retell it. We can remember. We can revoke it. We can remember it. Recall it. Right? So it is preserved somewhere. Or the fruits of trees. The fruits are there to contain the seeds. Therefore, they also have the information that is necessary in order to identify and depict the plant that it is the fruit of. So these are like little ID cards, little portfolios. In a sense, a preserved tablet, a miniature-sized preserved tablet. So the deed that I have in my hand is a preserved tablet. If you think about the representation that we just talked about, if I have a deed in my hand, it is preserved. Information is preserved on it, but it is in miniature size. The larger register somewhere in the registry office, that is the real preserved tablet, but what I have in my hand is a small sample of that. In the same way, what is in human memory, what is in the seed of a plant, is like a preserved tablet in a miniature size. Or a drop, so all of these things, the seeds, human memory, etc. Or it is like a drop oozing out from the pen that inscribes the great preserved tablet. Here now we are referring to the real, the Lawh Mahfuz of God that's mentioned in the Qur'an. These little seeds, human memory, or the memory of animals, or even the memory of metals and objects. I mean, the atoms of a rock stay together. Why? Why do they not just move out, move around? Why do they not disperse? There is a memory. They are held together through some kind of a bond. And they are not bonding onto the other rock. Something has to happen. A new thing needs to be created for it to bond to the other rock. There is a memory in all of these things that we observe around us. And these are all drops oozing out from the pen that inscribes that great, that tremendous Lawh Mahfuz, preserved tablet. In that case, they all point to, indicate, and prove the existence of a supreme memory, supreme retentive faculty, a supreme memory, a great book of registers, and a Lawh Mahfuz, a great, tremendous, preserved tablet. They point to it. They prove it. Perhaps, Ustad Nursi says, it shows it to those who have sharp intellect. We can see with our intellect. Those who can use their intellect to see, who have sharp intellect, can see this. They look at the seed, and in the seed, and they look at many seeds. When all the seeds come together, they see the reality of it. In a sense, like those who have the ability to read the binary digits in computer language and instantaneously, naturally, as a second nature, translate it into whatever language those binaries are representing. Some people have this skill. They have been dealing with these digits, the ones and zeros, for so long that they look at the ones and zeros, and all we see is ones and zeros, but what they see is words, signs, commands, meanings. So one who has sharp intellect can look at the sharp intellect, and also who has cultivated these senses, these skills, who has contemplated the creation long enough and with enough sincerity and depth that this person will look at the seeds, will look at human memory, will look at how the rocks are binding, how the water is moving with a memory, the waves are moving with a memory, and we'll see in all of these retentive faculties the reality of a greater retentive faculty from which all of these are oozing out like dots of ink. So this was the side note. Let's move back to the actual text and start from the last sentence that we stopped in the middle of. Şu yüksek dağda padişaha mahsus bir büyük fotoğraf kurulmuş ki bütün bu yerlerde ne cereyan eder suretini alıyor. And look, on this high mountain there is a great big camera that is set up. It belongs exclusively to the Sultan, and it is taking pictures of everything that is happening here from that high elevated position. Demek o zat emretmiş ki mülkünde cereyan eden bütün muamele ve işler zapt edilsin. In that case, that person, the monarch, the king, must have commanded. We understand that he has commanded that everything that is happening in his property, in his dominion, all transactions, all affairs should be recorded, kept. A record of everything happening in his dominion, all transactions, all affairs, everything that's happening, there should be a record kept for them. He must have commanded this because he is the one who set up that camera over there. Demek oluyor ki o zat-ı muazzam bütün hadisatı kaydettirir, suretini alır. In that case we understand that that tremendous person is having every happening registered and is having the pictures of every happening taken. İşte şu dikkatli hıfz ve muhafaza elbette bir muhasebe içindir. So now think about it. This careful preservation, careful registry and preservation, of course, must be for some kind of accounting. Otherwise, why is he doing this? Why is he registering everything? We understand that there will be a time where this registered information is going to be used. And remember, we are in a paradise-like place where everybody is following order and obedient, but there are abusers too. And the abusers are also being recorded. Their pictures are being taken. They are being filmed. Şimdi en adi raiyetin, en adi muamelelerini ihmal etmeyen bir hakimi hafiz hiç mümkün müdür ki raiyetin en büyüklerinden en büyük amellerini muhafaza etmesin, muhasebe etmesin, mükafat ve mücazat vermesin. Now think about a ruler who is preserving, who has the ability to preserve, and therefore we are going to call him the preserver, hafiz. Right? He is a ruler and he is hafiz, he is preserver, a preserving ruler who does not neglect even the most mundane affairs of his loveliest subjects. How so? Again, go back to the metaphors that we talked about. The seeds of poppy seeds. These little plants lying down somewhere in a plain, and these tiny, tiny seeds that come out of them. But it is preserved. The spores of some of those living creatures, they preserve. On a scale of things, when you compare, let's say, a human being, an animal, a giant tree, and these poppy plant, even the affairs of that poppy plant is being preserved in a poppy seed. It is being preserved. So the one who is in charge here is preserving everything. Even the most mundane affairs of his lowliest subjects, there is no exception to it. He is preserving them. Is it at all possible that this ruler, this preserving ruler, will not preserve the greatest deeds of his greatest subjects, and then he is not going to do an accounting of it? He is not going to take them to account, and then he is not going to reward or punish them. Humans, Ashraf Makhlukat, most honored, most honorable, most dignified of the creation, the one who preserves the memory, the affairs of the poppy seed, will he not preserve the affairs, the memory, the register of the affairs of human beings? Will He not preserve what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he is the most noble, most honored of the most noble creature. He is the most noble of all humans. Will God not preserve his deeds and reward him for what he has done, for the light he has brought to this universe, to this realm? And will he not punish those human beings to whom he gave intellect, to whom he gave heart, to whom he blessed with all his blessings, gave them life and provision, and they disobeyed and they denied him? Not only did they disobey and deny him, but they also oppressed his other subjects, who stole, who killed, who murdered, who spread oppression and pain. Will he not punish them? Will he not preserve this? He is preserving the poppy seed. Will he not preserve the information of what these people have done? He will. Halbuki o zatın izzetine ve gayretine dokunacak ve şe'ni merhameti için kabul etmeyecek muameleler o büyüklerden sudur ediyor. After all, we asked a rhetorical question, will he not do this? And after all, we say, things, affairs, acts are coming from those big subjects, those greater subjects. They are doing things that are going to offend that ruler's izzah and ghayra. And we talked about these two words, especially izzah, before. Izzah means that this person is capable of preserving his rights and the rights of those who follow him, who belong to him. He is capable of preserving those rights, and ghayra, he is jealous of those rights. He does not let them go. He has dignity. His dignity translates into his jealousy for preserving the rights of himself and those who follow him, and also translates into his boundless power to preserve it. So he has izzah and ghayra. But these greater subjects of his are doing things that are going to offend his izzah and ghayra. We see that. And we ask the rhetorical question, is he not going to preserve this? Is he not going to take them into account? Is he not going to give those who obey him and who appreciate him and who love him and who worship him? Is he not going to reward them? And is he not going to punish those who disobey him and who spread pain and oppression on earth? He has izzah and ghayra. What do we expect from him? What does the intellect expect? Remember, these are rational proofs. The intellect expects they are not being punished here. Burada cezaya çarpmıyor. He is not punishing them here. The intellect then expects demek bir mahkeme-i kübraya bırakılıyor. In that case, this is being left to a supreme tribunal, to a great court where everything is going to be taken care of. This was the end of the 7th proof. We have 12 of them, inshallah. We will continue the week after next, when inshallah we will be reading from the 20th flash again. If you benefit from these, please share them. Let others also benefit, inshallah. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة.